Are you wanting to lose weight with your workouts, but finding that your workouts are leaving your joints aching and your muscles tight and sore? And so you're feeling like, there's no way that this way of exercise is going to be sustainable for my body. This is the cycle that so many people find themselves caught in when they are trying to lose weight and specifically use their exercise to help them lose weight. So is there a better way to use your exercise, or is this just the way it's going to be if you are wanting to lose weight? On today's episode of the Exercise is Health podcast is the exact question that Julie and I will be exploring. We're going to cue the intro song and then we're going to dive right into this conversation. Welcome to the Exercise is Health podcast, where we will be breaking down the strategies and tactics you need to know to build your health, strength, and function without feeling achy, sore, or injured.
We're your hosts, Julie and Charlie, the creators of the Exercise for Life membership. Your podcast starts now.
Hey, welcome back, exercisers, to the Exercise is Health podcast, brought to you by Exercise for Life Studios, where we believe that your health is your most valuable asset, and the single best thing that you can do to both boost and protect this asset is exercise. Specifically, exercise is geared towards building the health and function of your muscles. We are your hosts, Charlie
and Julie,
and today we are exploring this topic of weight loss and building your metabolism with exercise. A lot of times when people start out working out, they're doing so in order to lose weight. And that's a very admirable goal. This is probably the number one goal that people have when they first start off with exercise. But what a lot of people soon find is that exercise really is not a sustainable way to try to keep weight off and to lose weight to begin with, at least not how exercise is typically promoted within the mainstream fitness industry. So the question is exercise just not part of the equation at all? Or is there actually a better way to go about exercising that won't leave your joints aching, that won't leave your muscles stiff, and not leave you feeling like you're injuring yourself every time you work out, but will actually aid and assist you in the weight loss process?
Now, when we're thinking about weight loss and building our metabolism, a lot of people get into this mindset of the more exercise that I do, the more it's going to lead me to my weight loss goal. Like the more of this thing called exercise is going to lead my body to shed weight or to build or maintain their metabolism. And the problem with this that makes this whole approach really short term for so many people is that it wears out your body, which is why most people get sore and achy joints, because you're misusing this amazing tool called exercise. And any tool, as amazing as it is, misused will wreak havoc. So you have to really keep that in mind. I mean, even those like what's that show called? The Biggest Loser, which is like the whole goal that they're on this show is to lose weight. They're getting guidance from quote unquote weight loss professionals and trainers. And how often do you guys see those ones like, let's get an update about, Jim? And they show Jim and he has gone back to how he was before, because this type of exercise does not lead to any type of sustainable change. And that's why when you're on a weight loss goal and you're motivated, you're all in. And when you're on a weight loss goal and you're tired and sore and achy, you're not all in. And we have to bridge this gap, because exercise, when used as the tool that it is, instead of misused as the means to weight loss, has a really potent ability to making your body a really healthy environment to encourage weight loss and to encourage your body to be at a healthy weight. And so when we can steer you in the right direction of like, hey, this is how we're going to use exercise to help with weight loss, versus let's just do everything and anything we can any minute. Let's make sure we're doing steps in place. Let's get on the treadmill for as many hours as your feet can tolerate. That's the story. We have to stop that story, because we have to have exercise stop breaking down your body, because really it should be building your body.
Yeah, Julie, like you were saying, one of the primary ways that exercise is misused in these weight loss journeys is that the focus of the exercise is on quantity. Like you're saying, more steps, more calories burned, more time on the treadmill, more time moving and everything like that. And I think the intentions behind that mentality are really good. Hey, we haven't been doing much. Now we need to be doing more than we were before. So that idea from a quantity standpoint, I think, is very useful. The problem is the quantity is often sacrificing the quality of the workout, the quality of the exercise, and the quality of ultimately the results that somebody is able to get. If they are thinking, okay, you know what, this week I'm going to start with 20 minutes on the treadmill, and then next week it's going to be 30, and then it's going to be 40, and then before you know it, it's going to be 2 hours every day on the treadmill because my quantities just going to keep going up and up and up, and that's my game plan for exercising to lose weight. Well, you can see just talking through that, like that's going to be an issue, right? So what's the alternative? Instead of saying, okay, well, this workout needs to burn the maximum amount of calories, or I need to spend as much time on the treadmill or on the bike as I can. I need to do as many group fitness classes as I can this week because we're just trying to get the most in, because the most in means more calories burned, right? Like there has to be a better alternative. So what is that? And as we kind of alluded to, instead of focusing on the quantity of your exercise, we want you focusing on the quality of your exercise. Now, what we're not going to be saying is you just need one really good workout a week. That's not what we're saying at all, okay? Because we do want you exercising preferably every single day. So the quantity needs to be there, but the quantity of the workout cannot sacrifice the quality of the workout. In other words, you can't go and try to burn 1,500 calories during your HIIT workout today and ultimately sacrifice your ability to come back and work out again tomorrow and the next day because your body is so aching and sore. And that is where a lot of people find themselves at some point or another in their weight loss journey. So what can we do instead? Well, we have a 3-step plan for you to follow in order to shift your mindset, in order to shift your mentality, in order to shift how you're going about doing your workouts, to really focus on the quality of your exercise and quality of the workouts, which will ultimately lead to more sustainable results.
Great. So our first step is a little bit counterintuitive to a lot of people, especially when it comes to building your metabolism. Well, maybe not so much with the building metabolism story, but definitely with the weight loss story. But you have to be prioritizing your resistance training. And why is this? The way that Charlie and I teach resistance training, and I can't speak for everyone because we only do what we do, but the way that we teach resistance training is a process of building the strength and function of your body. And now, why is that so important? And it's not even like, hey, this is really, 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 really far away from your goal. It is more like, hey, you're about to do some stuff to your body to make it healthier. You're going to put new challenges and new stressors on your body. You're probably changing your lifestyle if you're trying to lose weight or change your metabolic function. So you have to be resistance training because we have to be building the health and function of your muscles and ultimately of your body. Resistance training is the way to do that. And it's important that this is in the forefront of your mind because the other option of exercise, the other options of exercise is that you're using your body. And when we use our body, we often start to misuse our body because we're like, oh, I'm using it some, let me use it some more and then more and more and more. And that is how we get into that pattern of quantity, of how much can we get in without, falling over? Like, how much can I possibly do before I go to bed tonight? Or how much can I possibly do in this next month? That is going to overwhelm your body. It is going to misuse this amazing tool called exercise, and it ultimately is going to break down your body. So our number one tip is you have to prioritize your resistance training, and your resistance training must be building the health and function of your body, which means that after you do your resistance training sessions, you feel better, stronger, more functional, more ready to do stuff. It is not, I feel depleted, I feel drained, I feel disconnected, I'm shaking, or I can't feel my muscles, or they're already all sore. Those are signs that you've just misused this tool of exercise.
Yeah, this is a giant differentiator between what we're trying to tell you to do and what the mainstream fitness promotes you doing. When we're talking about resistance training, we're talking about really focused strength training that is designed, like Julu's saying, to build the health and function of your body and really to help you build muscle. Why this is so important is because when it comes to boosting your metabolism, being able to build muscle is a huge part of that. muscle is a highly metabolic tissue. What that means is the more muscle you have, the more calories you burn throughout the entire day, regardless of what you're doing. So it's of the utmost importance that you are able to build muscle, but do so in a way that leaves your body stronger, healthier, and functioning better. And so often what we see is when people pursue weight loss or when people try to build muscle in order to boost their metabolism, is they do so at the expense or the sacrifice of the health and function of their body. So this differentiator between using your body to accomplish a goal of weight loss versus building or rebuilding your body with your exercise, and then that as a healthier, stronger, more, robust functioning body, that will allow you a better opportunity to then continue on the journey of exercise and continue on the journey of weight loss. So that's step number one. Step number two is you need to clarify the goal of every exercise that you're doing. Okay. See, a lot of times, especially from a weight loss perspective, when we're thinking about the exercise, it comes down to, well, I'm doing this because it's hard and it's going to burn calories. All right. Think about burpees, for example. All right. Well, you ask somebody who's doing burpees in a group fitness class, and you ask them, okay, why are you doing burpees? And well, the first answer they're going to say is because the instructor told us to, as part of the class. And you say, okay, well, why do you think they're having you do it? Well, probably because it's hard, it gets us, breathing harder, and, it's just really challenging, probably burns a lot of calories. That's about the extent of it, right? But the reality is if you are really wanting to use your exercise to build the health and function of your body, do so in a way that's going to be sustainable and pursue this weight loss goal in a sustainable manner as well. You need to understand the goal of every exercise that you're doing, and it cannot be because it burns a lot of calories or because it's challenging. Okay. You need to be thinking about, okay, I'm going to be doing these squats because it's going to build the health and function of my leg muscles, my butt muscles, which is going to help support my knees. It's going to help support my hips and, the joints throughout my body. And so then because of that, when I go walking or I'm doing stairs or whatever, now I have better functioning legs and, better functioning joints to be able to do that. The goal needs to be about, all right, let's progress the health and function of your body so you can keep doing the stuff that will also help you to lose weight.
Charlie, one of the breakthrough messages that we helped our members have in our Exercise for Life membership with the Better Metabolic Boost program is exactly what you're saying, Charlie. It is saying, hey, we're not doing this exercise because it's hard and burns a lot of calories. We have a bigger goal than this. We're doing squats because we're trying to contract, squeeze, challenge our glutes. And this will also help you keep your form, because how many times you're like, okay, yeah, this is hard and challenging. I feel my glutes. And now this is so hard and challenging. Now I feel only my back. Oh, now things are pulling. Oh, now it feels bad. But the instructor says, keep going. Or, my sheet here says do 25 reps. And at rep 10, I feel maxed out. This will also keep you really safe as you're doing it, right? So it's like, hey, we're doing squats. Why? To build the health and function, challenge our glutes. Great. Do this exercise whenever it feels that you're no longer actively connected and challenging your glutes and it's going other places and you're having other symptoms, your body's talking to you. That's a great place to divert. So keeping that goal in mind. But this also applies to when you're doing cardio exercise, right? So many people feel like cardio should be this thing that it really isn't. What is cardio? Challenging your heart rate, getting your heart rate up, conditioning your heart function, right? So we think we have to do this grandiose exercise. I have a really great example for you. Jump squats. Have you guys ever heard of jump squats? It's like the classic weight loss exercise. And every time I do it, the way that the teachers on the app that I used to follow do it, I would literally feel sore and achy for 4 days. And I would not want to sit on the toilet. I didn't want to go up the stairs. I definitely didn't want to work out because my leg muscles had been negatively impacted by that workout. Being sore and achy after your workout, especially to that extent, is a sign that you've misused the exercise. And so now when I approach jump squats, I know hey, the goal of this exercise is to challenge my heart rate. So how can I body match and manipulate this exercise so that it meets my goals? Not so that my body meets the goal of the exercise. The goal is for my body to improve, not for my body to fit into XYZ form of an exercise.
Exactly. That's a huge point. It really leads us right into step number 3 with what you're talking about with cardio, Julie, is to pick a cardio that you don't have to overthink. A lot of times when people start doing cardio, it can be something relatively straightforward, like, going for a walk or, maybe a jog or whatever. And then eventually, as they get into more, higher intensity interval classes and stuff like that, there will be the jump squats, there will be the burpees, there will be the box jumps, or, the side to side hopping lunges, and, all this stuff that all of a sudden takes a lot more coordination, takes a lot more thoughtful, execution of a skill in order to just be able to get your heart rate up. And the reality is if you want to play this game long term, meaning this game of exercise, this game of feeling well and feeling strong and feeling like you are improving your health with your workouts, there are going to be some skills that you need, but the majority of the skills that are demonstrated by the mainstream fitness industry are completely unnecessary for your long-term health, long-term well-being, and really being able to sustainably do the things that you want to do in your life. And so when it comes to your cardio, keep it really simple. Keep it really straightforward. Keep it something that, you can just focus. You can still focus on how your muscles are doing, how your joints are moving, making sure that your heart rate is at a comfortable level. Like you don't feel like, oh my gosh, my heart is like something's going to happen with my heart here. But you can feel you challenging your heart. You can feel your blood pumping. You can feel yourself breathing harder, but minimizing the crazy skill aspect that so many cardio exercises, especially the ones that are promoted by the mainstream fitness industries, that are done on the really popular apps because they look cool and flashy, that you'll see as you're scrolling your social media, steer clear of those ones, because those are not the ones that are going to be setting you up for long-term success. They may get you a viral video on Instagram, but that's not going to allow you to actually keep your health, keep your function, build your strength, and ultimately boost your metabolism and lose weight.
Absolutely. And I think what you were saying, Charlie, was reminding me of point number 2 again, where it's like, what the heck is the goal here? Some people feel like, hey, if I'm going to start using exercise to lose weight, that means I must become a fitness athlete. And you know what I'm saying? So Here's the thing. It's like, if you become a soccer athlete, then the goal is to become really good at soccer and win, right? And if you become, any kind of athlete, that's the goal. So like, just because you're participating in fitness doesn't mean that now you need to be a fitness competitor, right? And like be able to do the crazy moves. Being able to do the crazy moves is fine. Like if you want to do that, that's great. Just know that there are large risks that go along with these larger, bigger movements, especially when it comes to cardio, because we're not being as thoughtful. We're almost trying to move quickly because we want that heart rate training effect. And there's nothing wrong with that. The problem is that you just have to accept the risks that go along with it. So if someone was coming in here, and the people that we talk to, we usually just don't do those things because we'd rather see you, hey, I want to see you exercising 7 days this week, instead of, it's really important that we figure out this jump squat thing. Julie, do some jump squats. And then I come back the next day like, hey, I can't really work my legs for like 4 days now because I've now violated what my body has told me I can do. So we like to say, hey, stick to what your goal is. If your goal is to challenge muscles, well, then do it in a strategic and mindful way. And if your goal is to really build up your heart rate, well, then do it in a safe, strategic way. You don't have to be doing this like it's a competition or like you're an athlete.
Exactly. Now, the problem with not following the 3 steps that we've laid out today is that the efforts that you're putting towards losing weight and the efforts that you're putting in towards your weight loss, like any kind of results or any kind of ambition that you have of getting results, it's all going to be very short-lived. It's just a reality of it, because your workouts are going to be constantly breaking down your body, constantly leaving you feeling worse, and honestly, constantly putting you at risk of more severe issues from injuries and things like that. And so that is why we are so adamant about this idea of stay away from the processes that are often promoted by the mainstream fitness industry of how to lose weight in a short period of time and everything like that. You want to be be thinking sustainable. You want to be thinking health. You want to be thinking longer term with this. And what's cool is just by implementing the 3 steps that we discussed today, you will start to shift your mindset. You'll start to shift how you're doing your exercise. And even if it's not, oh yeah, I'm dropping, 5 pounds in the first 2 weeks, you'll notice that because you're able to keep coming back to your exercise, because you're able to leave your exercise feeling stronger, feeling healthier, feeling like your body is functioning really well, then over 3, 6, 12 months, you're going to notice much more dramatic changes than if you try to take the mainstream approach. And if over the course of 3 years, 5 years, a decade or more, it's going to be completely different where you are today versus where you will be then by following an approach that's not only sustainable, but really keeps a focus on the health and function of your body, making sure that you are prioritizing your resistance training, the health and function of your muscles, and then being really clear and understanding why you're doing each exercise and not overcomplicating things with these high skill level exercises.
Absolutely, Charlie. And in the end, exercise is way too potent of a tool for us to abuse and potentially lose, because although you and I were able to problem solve around a lot of things because this is what we think about all day long, a lot of times when people get injured or they fall off the wagon, it's really hard to get back on because, maybe you're not a professional in this field and you're like, oh, I know how to problem solve around an achy knee or an arthritic back or whatever is going on. But we all have these things that will eventually show up if we are not being mindful of how we're doing this weight loss or metabolic change. I even just recently had a client that injured her knee, and we have been strength training like crazy over the last probably 8 weeks now. And she said, wow, I can't believe that strength training would actually change how my knee is feeling. I mean, I've read about it, but I didn't know it was actually going to happen to me. But the big reason why this was so important is she loves to walk. She walks all the time. She is in her mid-50s. She's like, I love walking. I walk around my block all the time. That's the exercise I love to do. But how would I do it with this hurt knee, right? So we had to implement and start introducing that number 1 step of hey, you got to prioritize resistance training. If you are not resistance training, how will you have a body to use to do the other stuff that you want to do to help you lose weight? That was just a recent example I've had, but we've also helped so many people in our membership do this exact thing. We created a program just for those of you that are looking to build a better metabolic function, maybe try to lose some weight, interested in all that. But anyways, we named it Better Metabolic Boost. And it was probably one of our favorite, most fun programs because we outlined these 3 steps the whole time. It's cool to listen to this podcast and hear oh yeah, that makes sense. Click, turn it off. No, let's apply it. Let's go do it. In the Better Metabolic Boost, we walk you through an 8-session program of how to apply these principles. How do you take these metabolic boosting exercises, make them safe, make them repeatable, make them something you can do forever? And really, that means make them so they actually change your health, because your health is not going to change in 8 exercises and 8 workouts. Your health changes the more that you can repeat the exercise, the months that you go, the years that you go. So that is the mindset that we approached Better Metabolic Boost. If you're interested in joining us for that program, we would love it if you would become a member, and then you'll have full access to Better Metabolic Boost and all the other awesome programs that we have. All you have to do is go to www.exerciseforlifestudios.com/membership. You can sign up there and you can start the workout right away.
So who do you know that needs to hear this episode? Who do you know that is trying to lose weight with their workouts, but every time they go to workout, it leaves their body feeling aching, feeling sore, feeling like this is not going to be sustainable? Share this episode with them so they can understand a better approach to not only boosting their metabolism, but help them lose weight in a sustainable way. And while you're online, head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a rating and review. It helps people find our podcast when they're looking for information on exercise and looking for information on health. So if you found value in this conversation today, let us know by leaving us that 5-star rating and review. Well, thanks so much for tuning in. We always appreciate it. Have a fantastic week, and we'll talk with you all next week. This podcast is for information purposes only. The statements and views on this podcast are not medical advice. This podcast, including Julie and Charlie Gates, disclaim responsibility for any possible adverse effects from the use of information contained herein. Opinions of guests are their own, and this podcast does not endorse or accept responsibility for statements made by guests. This podcast does not make any representations or warranties about guest qualifications or credibility. This podcast may contain paid endorsements or advertisements for products or services. Individuals on this podcast may have a direct or indirect financial interest in products or services referred to herein. If you think you have a medical issue, consult a licensed physician.